Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
This is our spoiler chat for episode 1 and
2.
That's it. Way to contribute. Of Hawkeye, the new Disney Plus MCU show, because we get Nerdy Nightly.
And we thought we'd share it with you.
That is right. Hawkeye is finally given his due as a original Avenger. Black Widow got her movie, and Hawkeye gets a television show.
Yeah, I mean, technically more screen time.
Technically, and technically, there are 2 Hawkeyes and 2 Black Widows. So, they're doing that.
What do you mean?
Well, Kate Bishop is also Hawkeye.
Oh, and Yelena
Belova is also Black Widow.
Yes, okay. I was like, there's 2 Black Widow movies?
It's the interesting thing of both of these characters getting their solo moment in the MCU in Phase 4 is that their solo moment is coming at a time when these characters are also aging out of the MCU and need to pass on their legacy. And so we get these characters being... They're finally given their solo thing, and it is in a passing of the torch storyline.
Yeah.
Obviously, Yelena Belova will probably be the next Black Widow. She might even be the Black Widow in this series because of the end credit scene from Black Widow. Yep. I'm assuming you've seen all the MCU things prior to now if you're watching a spoiler chat.
Yeah.
But if not, go watch Black Widow. It's good. It is an enjoyable movie to watch.
Are we going to do, like, non-spoiler and then spoilers
spoiler chat.
Spoiler chat.
Spoiler chat. We don't need to... It's an MCU thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. It's also been out for a day.
The non-spoiler version is, it's pretty decent. Go check it out.
Yeah, it's decent. It's decent. There's definitely some conveniences. There's definitely some writing in it that is like, okay, sure.
Fine, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it hasn't, like, blown me out of the water, and you mentioned that they have a lot of setup to do, especially in that first episode.
First episode is very slow.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think that they got everything done that they needed to get done.
Yeah.
But they did it, but there was a lot they needed to get done, is the point, I think.
Yeah, I think they did it well, but it's, you know, with what they're trying to go for, it did feel a little slow.
Yeah, so we start the episode being introduced to a young Kate Bishop in her penthouse apartment, which was a nice reminder that Kate Bishop is wealthy as hell.
Yep.
She's sort of the Danny Rand of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Danny Rand, well, I guess Danny Rand was... It depends on if you think the Netflix shows are in the MCU or not. But, you know, because New York is the setting of so much Marvel content in the comics... And there are a lot of wealthy New Yorkers. Those characters pop up in these storylines. But there are times in the first 2 episodes where I'm like, you guys are really rich. Like, why is this a problem?
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of... Kate Bishop is a rich white girl.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, cool. All right. But here's the thing. It's not like... It makes perfect sense. You have, like... You have to have been able to afford the training... for the caliber of athlete that you are, right?
Yeah, if her backstory is that she got here by learning from professionals, by taking classes and competing, people in the sports world know, like, professional sports, outside of certain sports, like, certainly, like, there are some sports that raise people up out of, like, college programs, but there are other sports, like, archery fencing or badminton or whatever the decathlon is. That's the 10 one, right? Yeah, where it's like, oh, it's a bunch of rich people who have the money, like equestrians. Yeah, like you have to have the money to have spent time on horses. There's no way in hell I was ever, with the way I was raised, ever going to have the money to do this stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I had a very generous college scholarship.
Yeah.
And I'm still in debt.
Yeah. But, but here's the thing, you know, they don't shy away from it. Mm-hmm. They're very upfront, like, this is the way that Kate was brought up. This is, like, you know, her family, they're the kind of, like, socialites, like, the elite, and that's just part of the story, you know.
And they lean into it. I really like the line from Vera Farmiga's character, the mom, And Vera Farmiga, any show where Vera Farmiga is playing the mom will always be great to me just because of how incredible she is in Bates Motel. Like, she has earned, like, the most insane talent pass from me forever because that show is just, it's so good. And Vera Farmiga is, like, a lot of the reason why. So is the rest of the cast, Olivia Cook and Freddie Highmore. Like, they're all fantastic, but I'm enamored with her to this day from that. But she has the line where she's like, teenagers think that they're invisible, and rich kids think that they're invisible. Invincible. And you're both.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like, I'm glad that they're at least commenting on it and having it really be a part of the show rather than just kind of, like, glossing over it to kind of get past it.
Yeah. No, I think it's smart of them because otherwise you're just sitting there being like, oh, yeah, wow, this is a lot of money.
So the show opens up. It is Avengers Day. Not Avengers Day. It is, but the day from the movie. And the Chitauri are attacking little Kate Bishop, who is a great young Kate Bishop. The actress looks a lot like her.
Oh, yeah.
In a scene that went on, like, the introduction to her young life went a little long for me.
Yeah.
But we do eventually see the Chitauri attack. And it is a really... The MCU has been having a lot of fun with that day. We saw it again in Endgame. They like to go back to, like, different perspectives of that moment.
Yeah.
And we see that her penthouse is partially destroyed. And Brian Darcy James, my idol, and the man who I crafted what my singing voice sounds like, dies. And so I was very sad because anytime Brian Darcy James dies in something, I just get sad. He's my dude.
Yeah, no, yeah. He was great. You know, it was such a small role, but he was fantastic.
Great wig.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe that was his COVID hair. One of the two. The hair was great, though.
Yeah, he looked great. Like you said, I think the scene went on a little too long, but I think it set up... What I loved about it, honestly, is that Kate goes to the crumbled wall, and in the distance sees Hawkeye fighting and doing all this, like, cool stuff. And as a kid, you know, in a horrible, terrifying moment, that's, like... you know, I mean, as a kid, as an adult, I feel like things like that stick with you in a way that's just due to trauma, right?
Yeah, when she says...
He died.
When she says, I need a bow, at the end of that scene, it's like, oh, yeah, like, this imprinted on you in a way that is going to change your whole life.
Yeah.
And is the impetus for the show, and I think it was a really strong choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, I liked it. I think it's really awesome that, like, he is her idol and the reason why, and it makes complete sense. It's, you know, she's probably standing there feeling absolutely helpless because what the hell are you supposed to do? And this person is very clearly capable and able to defend themselves and the people around them, and losing her father in that moment probably was like a added just incentive to work on those skills to be able to protect the people that you love.
Yeah. Then we get a pretty stellarly crafted opening credit sequence. I thought it looked really cool with all the trophies and her skills. Really introducing us to, like, her training.
Yeah.
And
karate.
In modern day, we get to see her destroy a bell tower unnecessarily.
Yeah, I don't really know. I guess that was, like, to be like, this girl's rich and doesn't care about consequences. Yeah,
but also, like, is your bell tower... I feel like there had to be structural damage.
Well, so it's probably a bell that has, never been rung in, 200 years, you know.
Maybe? But still, it did not seem like there was enough momentum from the arrow hitting the string for the bell to suddenly go flying back and forth.
Well, that's the thing. If the bell had started moving as opposed to...
That's what happened. The string hits the bell, right? And then the whole bell from that moment swings over and hits the wall. And that's why the tower collapses.
Wait.
Yeah.
No, it moves. It doesn't hit the wall.
Yeah, it takes out part of the wall. The bell moves over and hits part of the wall and it crumbles. And
that doesn't make any sense because
I know the physics of it don't. I was very confused.
Well, nobody would build a bell tower with a wall in the way.
What do you mean? There's pillars that hold it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it hit the pillar.
The
whole bell hit the pillar.
You telling me it went on a diagonal?
What?
if there's 4 pillars on the diagonals, why would the bell, instead of swinging side to side, swing diagonal? Okay,
I don't think the arrow came in straight, though.
The way that I interpreted it is that the arrow hit the dangle thingy and moved it, which caused like shifting in the stone that the bell hadn't been rung in however long, right? And so the noise, it's a loud noise, the vibrations plus the added like shifting, I thought just made it start to crack and crumble. I didn't think that the bell hit the pillar.
I think that's what I saw. But either way, the physics of either of those things don't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's a great moment until what happens immediately afterwards, which I was like, but like it was funny until the security guard came through the door, and then I was like, oh, this whole sequence is just the most convenient possible. Because, like, how did the security guard know that she was up there?
No idea.
The bell literally just crashed. Like, it's not even like they're, like, looking for her yet. The security guard is, like, ready.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this college has some, like, weird, like, tripwire roof.
Probably have security cameras.
But I was just like, this college has, like, actual security. I went to college in New York City, and we did not. The only thing our security guards were there to do were to stop us from coming into our dorm drunk and tell us to go wait at Dunkin' Donuts till we were sober enough to go to bed. Which is kind of insane to me, to tell, like, drunk college students, hey, no, actually, you have to go out on the streets until you're sober.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Safety. New York. My college was great. Our cafeteria got shut down for having 109 violations in our health check. And the number that you need to get shut down is 9. We beat it by 100, baby. Yeah.
Wow, okay. I'm learning so much.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. My freshman year was fantastic.
Back to Hawkeye. Yeah, that scene was kind of insane.
It was just like that it was so convenient to me. That it was like, okay, the bell tower collapses from what doesn't seem like it should be possible, and then the security guard is just right there. It was like, too many conveniences too close together.
Well, but also like convenient for what? Like, sure, it like all it really does is be like, it's a rich kid who doesn't care.
Yeah, it also doesn't. I don't know that it really matters. Like, you could have literally just started with her getting off the train in New York, and I don't. Other than like Vera Farmiga being like upset with her, I'm just gonna call her Vera Farmiga. Being upset with her about it for a line and then moving on. I was like, that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And she's like, we're going to talk about this later. And then they never do.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, someone gets murdered and other stuff happens.
Oh, no, there's so much drama. Kate gets upset about the engagement. And so Vera Farmiga forgets about the bell.
Yeah, that's
no.
It. I don't know. It just kind of was like weird.
Yeah, it was a weird scene.
It was like I was watching it and I was having fun, but like had to turn off my brain for a bit there to be like, okay.
And I think that we're 2 episodes in, and I'm having a lot of fun with this show. Mm-hmm. I love the relationship between Clint and Kate so far. Yes, I love the relationship between Clint and his family so far. Yeah. The representation of that, like that dinner scene at the restaurant was so fun.
Oh God, it was so real and wholesome. Mm-hmm. And
that comes right after the next thing after the bell tower thing, which is we see Clint Barton and his family watching Rogers the musical.
Oh my God. The cringe.
And we say this, okay, we should preface, we both have degrees in musical theater. Like, yes. that is what we went to school and studied post-secondary education for.
Yeah, and so watching Rogers the musical hurt in a way, because we've both seen those shows that do that.
Well, and what was wild to me was how low budget it was. Like, I get the joke of it, but I was a little I wish that they had made it an off-Broadway show, because the costumes would be more justified. But, like, Broadway shows now, it was a bad representation of Broadway.
Yeah,
it was, like, taking the piss out of Broadway in such a, like, insincere way that I kind of was like, you could have at least gone for it.
Yeah.
I saw Spider-Man 5 times on Broadway. The one thing you can't say is that those costumes weren't fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, and, like, the sets and, like, they
had
the, like, cardboard or wooden, like, spaceship flyby in the background or whatever.
That is a reference to, I think it is, but I think that's a reference to Superman the musical, in which every time, in the original production and in the revival that they did, every time Superman flies by, it is a literal cardboard cutout of Superman that flies across the stage, and then Superman enters on the other side.
Gotcha.
So I'm pretty sure they were referencing It's a Bird, It's a Plane.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is there's fun stuff in it,
possibilities,
but it's super racist. So maybe that one should get rewritten or never done again.
Yeah, put it to bed.
The second act of that musical gets weirdly racist towards Asian people very quickly, and it was shocking.
Yeah, it's a big yikes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rogers the Musical hurt us in a way that I was not ready for,
and it hurt Clint in a way that he should have been ready for.
Yeah, I love that he turned off his hearing aid. His daughter's like, Dad, did you turn off your hearing aid? Like, what? No, definitely
not. No, he says, yeah. I don't need to know what's happening. I was there.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite jokes in the whole show. And there's good jokes in the show. The comedy's on point, honestly.
Yeah.
As a comedy, this is very good.
It's funny. It's fun. I want to see the full production of Rogers the Musical for the
Apparently
cringe.
that full song is out, so we could listen to that full song if we could sit through the whole thing.
We should get a group of our theater friends together and do our own version of it. And make it a YouTube video.
I could do this all day!
I'll be Black Widow.
Wow. Yeah, of course you will. I'll be Ant-Man.
Oh, my favorite.
That was a good joke. He wasn't even there.
Yeah.
But they leave and they go have dinner and
it's nice.
It was funny. So they call Linda Cardellini, who I'm really happy was in this. I was worried from the trailers that Hawkeye was going to be like estranged from his wife because she's not at that Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that the story they're telling is that they're still good and they're like making it work and everything.
Yeah.
I think that it's nice to see superhero content that doesn't constantly feel the need to break up parents or like leave children in these like less than wholesome family units.
Yeah, Disney has a bad track record for that.
Yeah, and so seeing Linda Cardellini brought me some joy. And honestly, their interactions, their phone calls in the first two episodes are both really fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially the one in the second one where they're talking about his plan, and Linda Cardellini he brings it up and she knows what it is, and I'm like, oh yeah, like she is married to a spy. Mm-hmm. She knows what that is. She trusts him. She supports him.
Yeah.
It was kind of beautiful to see, and not just a lot of times wives in movies like this, and I think it's a sexist trope, and I think most people would agree with me that it's always like the nagging wife that's like, well, I need you to come do this. You know what I mean? It's always the like, oh no, don't go be a superhero. And that's so played out.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's realistic.
Yeah.
If you marry a spy, knowing he's a spy, you're kind of on board.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be on the same page. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, the marriage doesn't work. And, that's where I think a lot of the, like, tropes come from, where they just end up splitting or whatever. And it's fine. It's fine. You've done it. I've seen it before. This was nice and refreshing, because they were both on the same page, and they're not both spies as well. You'll see two spies.
She's a genuine, she's like a regular person,
human being about it, and it was so refreshing. And it was very nice. That whole relationship was fantastic. And then we went back to the trope of Kate was like bothered that her mom is engaged.
To be fair, I was kind of like, this is a lot at first. It was very teenage, high school-y.
Yeah.
Even though like my mom dated, and I was always like, good, like go be happy. Like be happy. As someone who has I would say a fairly good relationship with my stepdad, and didn't always. It was tough. When we first all moved, when him and his two daughters moved in, suddenly there were lots of women in the house. And me and my three, my brothers were on, yeah. It was tough, but we got through it. And there's love.
Proud of you.
But I was never like, Mom, don't date.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just my perspective. Maybe people have different perspectives, and But by the end of the second episode, I'm fully on board with the fact that she's not cool with her mom dating that guy.
Yeah. That guy specifically, you find out later, is like
not that much later.
Well, I guess. But like in the moment, like the very first moment, it was like, this guy's here, he's moved in, like she's been like seeing or dating or whatever, and Kate's all like about it. And I was like, okay, we don't know anything about this guy, so kind of for us, the audience, it was out of nowhere, and I was like,
For me, I'm like, if I was coming home for Christmas, I think that you tell your kid before she gets home.
Yeah.
Especially like, hey, daughter, there's going to be a man
living
here.
in the house. Yeah.
Surprise. But that conversation leads to Kate being told by her mom, hey, we'll talk about the bell later. For now, your punishment is you have to put on a fancy dress and come to a fancy party.
Yeah, and so instead she puts on a server's tuxedo.
For some reason, she dresses as a New York City cater waiter, an outfit that I have worn so many freaking times.
It looked good on her, like, and the guy, Armand references it, he's like, you look better in this than I do, than I ever did, which was fun, but yeah, it was like... It was for her to have the convenience to be able to sneak into the, like, secret auction or whatever.
Mm-hmm. The black market Avengers auction, which was cool.
It was stuff basically that was recovered from the, like, wreckage of...
Well, no, it was the Ronin suit and a Triceratops head. What those two things have in common?
And the sword.
Rich people.
Well, the sword is part of the suit.
Yeah. Like, it was Ronin stuff from the Avengers complex, and it was that giant Triceratops head skull.
Yeah.
And I'm like, only rich people could string those two things together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the tracksuit mafia attacks. In the middle of that, Armand...
Wait, sorry, was it the tracksuit mafia?
Yeah, it's the same tracksuit mafia the whole time.
Oh, okay.
They just have masks on for that, and then they take them off later. But the tracksuit mafia... So Kate beats them up. She puts on the Ronin suit, which is... I thought it was just a hoodie, but she goes upstairs to change when they get to her apartment later. So I think that it's a suit, and now I'm like, where did she put the suit on in the basement?
Don't know. He said it's a vest. Clint says it's a vest, so I believe it's a vest and a hood. And
okay, yeah.
So I don't think...
She went upstairs to get other clothes.
I think so. Yeah, it wasn't like...
That makes sense.
I don't think it's like a full suit.
So Kate beats the... This is going to be so long if we don't, like, push through some stuff.
Yeah,
so Kate beats the crap out of them with a wine bottle. We both said when we were watching it, very cool that the wine bottle didn't break. That's realistic. Wine bottles are surprisingly sturdy.
Yeah, I worked as a wine angel, and bottles would drop from 2 stories up, and they would sometimes survive.
You are pretty enough to be an angel. Or as Anakin says... Are you an angel?
No, we're not going there. Moving on. So she saves a stray dog.
Lucky.
Who is very, very cute. Mm-hmm. Brings that dog back to her. She also has her own apartment in the city, which I guess rich people makes sense.
Okay. But this is another thing that I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Because she goes to her apartment.
Yeah.
Takes pizza out of the fridge. And gives it to the dog. But she's been away at school.
For months, I'm assuming? Or
and so, like...
At least weeks? So I don't know
Or is that the apartment she's staying at while she's at school? Like, I was really confused. Because it seemed like school was, like, away. Because when she gets out of the train station, she gets out of Grand Central Station. And look, if you don't live in New York, none of this means anything. I get that. But she gets out of Grand Central Station. In the exact place that the Chitauri attacked New York in the Avengers movie, I know because I was on set and filmed it. I was like, oh, weird, this is the location.
The exact spot.
And I guess that New York City rebuilt the destroyed portion of Grand Central in canon.
I guess.
But...
It's been years.
If you come into Grand Central Station, generally it means that you were out of town.
Yeah.
The 456 line does go there, and so does the NQR. Yeah. So like it's possible she was somewhere else in New York City, but it visually implied to me that she was coming in from out of town. But that's because I lived in New York for 10 years, so that's a weird bias.
Well, and she's coming home to her mom's apartment from school. Like, it seems like she's been, like, away for some time, but then she pulls this pizza out of the fridge and gives it to the dog, and you're like,
and I was like, God. How short was your cement? Like, when was the last time you were home?
Yeah, it was strange.
Yeah.
So heads back out to... See Armand, finds him stabbed, bleeding.
She is still wearing the Ronin suit.
Suit, breaks into his house. I'm assuming I don't really know why.
I think that I don't know.
I don't know
why she went there. I think it's because that was the only place she could go. Maybe she was going to, like, interrogate Armand about the mustache.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It's a fantastic mustache.
It's a great mustache. Finds him stabbed, leaves, runs into...
Which I was sad about. He's such a good actor that I was hoping we were going to get more of him on the show.
I agree.
I thought he was going to be like a nice elderly wisdom person for Kate throughout the show. And... Because Hawkeye isn't that, right? Like, Clint Barton isn't that. And I don't know.
He teaches her how to clean a wound, so.
No, but I mean, like, wisdom and, like...
I know.
I thought that he was going to end up giving her the advice that, like, helped her with her relationship with Clint. Mm-hmm. And instead, he's dead.
Yeah. So he's dead. She leaves, runs into the tracksuits again because they hate Ronan. But
specifically because they've been tracking her somehow. We have connections. We have spies everywhere or something, I think is the line. And so then she starts fighting them in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
She gets into a car and suddenly they all get taken out. And Clint is the one that pulls her out of the car and throws her down an alley.
Because he saw on the news that someone in the Ronin suit saved a dog.
And so he tracked her?
He tracked her as well. Yeah, she's very easy to find.
Everyone in New York, very good at finding people.
Well, and then later on in the second episode, she literally logs into her company's thing, which tracks cell phones. And I was like, this is all...
Bishop Security has, like, CIA level...
Yeah, so this is all very convenient.
I was like, I did not realize that Bishop Security was the actual police.
Yeah, is that... Yeah, that's a little weird
The second episode gets super convenient, though, as well. And we were literally, like, laughing. Yeah. Because Clint goes back to the apartment, which is burnt because of the Molotov cocktails. Mm-hmm. They've seen it. We don't need to tell them everything that happens, right?
It's true.
When he gets there... Oh, this is after he's taken Kate to another apartment.
Yep.
A third New York City apartment that she has keys to?
No, she picked the lock.
She picked the lock.
So we don't know whose apartment
I don't know who Moira is, though.
Moira was just a random buzzer that she rang. And be like, your pizza's here. It was a random...
So she just broke into a random person's apartment?
I don't know if it was a random apartment.
She said that she knew them. That would be risky. Because they slept there, so she had to have some idea that no one was going to be there.
Yeah, I have no idea whose apartment that is. It's nice that they're the same size clothing, though. That's very convenient. Yeah. They can share wardrobe.
But, so Clint leaves her there. He goes back to her place. Mm-hmm. Sneaks in as a firefighter.
Yep.
Into the apartment. Mm-hmm. Doesn't find the Ronin suit. Mm-hmm. Goes outside. Goes back to his stuff. Sees a New York City LARPer sticker on the fire truck. Mm-hmm. And deduces,
he sees the sticker there, and then deduces that one of the firefighters must be a LARPer and must have taken that. You know, it's really convenient that exact person who put the sticker on there is also the person who took the suit.
But also that the person who took the suit is a firefighter who is robbing the houses that are burning down.
Yeah.
Like the implication of the show with a character that is a black man in New York City that they're playing as a joke is that he is a firefighter who is robbing burnt apartments. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was kind of icky.
Yeah.
It felt weird to, like, claim this about a fire. Like, it was super convenient. It didn't make any sense. No. And also that firefighter is dumb enough to rob
and then
wear it? And then wear it on his Instagram and say where he's going to be the next day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just kind of like, what is happening?
Yeah. This show kind of defies logic.
It was worth it for how much fun I had in the LARPing scene.
For sure.
The LARPing scenes, the big fight, the Hawkeye, like, being willing to die and, like, whatever. All
Silly,
of that
and it was fun.
Was great. It was just how we got there that I was like, fine. It's dumb, but fine.
But
and I don't want to say that, but like...
No, it is a little bit cringe. Like... Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you could have... I don't know. You could have done anything else, really. Like, it...
I know a lot of New York City firemen. Uh-huh. I do.
And they don't go around, like, taking things from people's houses that are on fire.
They have a code. You know what I mean? There's a lot of honor in... Especially New York City firemen. And fire women. They're... Fire people. I don't know what the terminology is. But my point is that there is something about New York City and the firefighters that runs deeper than I think anywhere else in the world after 9/11. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's just that, like, if you come for firefighters, the, like, man in me who lived down the block from... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From Ground Zero for my freshman year of college. Like, there's just like there's a thing there between New York City and its firefighters.
Yeah.
And so I just think that the implication that one of them is a thief just rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, it was very clearly written by people not from New York.
Which is weird, because usually Marvel Comics are only written by people who live in New York City. But yeah, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I thought that it was a funny way to move forward, but it was tasteless.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, like, ruin the show for me. I'm not, like, so upset about it, but it did ruin the scene for me, and I went, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah. My thing is that, like, my general overall thoughts are that the show is fun, and I'm enjoying it so far.
100%.
But it just kind of feels a little lazy.
Okay, I have a question. I have a follow-up question to that. It feels not
well thought out.
Do you think that do you think that the MCU is stretching itself too thin by putting out so much content?
Potentially. Yeah.
Like, is that going to affect the writing of these shows and series?
I think so. I think it's definitely possible, right? If you have, you have a studio that, sure, it is as big as it is, but you like, there are only so many people of a certain caliber, right? And those people either can't do all the work or will then exhaust themselves because they are overworked. And this is definitely one of those times where I'm looking at the show and thinking, this was just content for content's sake. This is our Christmas thing that we didn't really put a lot of thought into.
There's some scenes that are so good, like literally so good, and a lot of
Kate and Clint are so good.
Yeah. But some of the connecting tissue between scenes isn't.
Yeah.
And I think that there's been a couple of things already 2 episodes in that I'm just like, oh, this could have used like 2 more passes at the script.
Yeah.
Just to iron out the kind of like, oh, how'd they get here? Oh, they tracked you.
Yeah.
For like 16 hours?
Yeah.
Like now what do you mean they tracked, like, or it's this LARPer guy stole this yesterday from a crime scene, then posted on his Instagram that night, then showed up to the LARPing thing the next day, and I was like, oh, I mean, okay, it's fun, and like the scene ends up being really funny, so it's worth it, I think.
But like your audience is smarter than that.
Yeah.
And I think you need to treat them as such.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just, I like the show. I like the show quite a bit.
Me too. I am enjoying it.
I just think that so far of the MCU shows, it is the
laziest.
Yeah, it is the least like deep.
Yeah,
it's the shallowest. That's the word I'm looking for. It's the shallowest of them.
Yeah,
and that's that's kind of a shame, because I think in the first episode, the relationship between Clint and Nat, this like very, very, very deep undercurrent in that episode is really sweet and wholesome and emotionally, I'm emotionally invested in seeing how Hawkeye is dealing with her death. Yeah. In a way that I wasn't really expecting to. And I think that when Yelena Belova shows up later in the show, which I'm almost certain she will, I think that's going to be very affecting.
Well, and they keep bringing it back, even when he's on the phone with his wife, and he's like, my plan is like the bait and release or whatever. Oh, that's catch and release, that's one of Nat's old tricks. And it's just like, it's things like that just have so much heart to it. And that's the thing. At the core of this show is a lot of heart and a lot of love that has been built up throughout the Marvel franchise. I just don't think that the writers are doing it justice.
A little bit. Here and there, but at times they are, right? And like
I think the actors are doing it justice.
No, but there's good dialogue. There has been some really good dialogue.
Dialogue, yes. Plot is wild. This
That's actually fair. I don't really get what the point is.
Me neither.
Why not just leave? Like, now that he has the Ronins, well,
no, this is what you do.
Because he doesn't want Kate to die. I get that, but like, her mom runs a security company. Like, it feels like she could have pretty good security. Yeah, but also I don't know. I'm just kind of like, I don't know what's going on.
Or you stage a moment where Clint puts on the Ronin suit and goes somewhere far away and is sighted while Kate is being tailed. So she's clearly not.
They would still like assume that Kate is affiliated somehow. You know what I mean? Like, that's not gonna. I don't know what the like clean way out is. I just know that in terms of the plot of this show, that is the least interesting part of it.
Yeah, right. Like, we don't know what. And there's
plenty of interesting parts.
Yeah, I want to know what the hell's up with the fiance, like her new like almost stepdad now.
I would love it if it was nothing.
Me too.
If at the end, like, if he gets, if the suspicion is just more and more every episode, and like you're like, God, there's something wrong with this guy, and then at the end it's like,
prick.
No, he just likes black market swords. No, it's not even that he's a prick. He is genuinely a really nice guy.
I don't know. He's kind of a prick sometimes. The way that he speaks.
Oh no, like condescending.
Yeah.
You know, like not. I'm not saying like, but I'm saying like at the end of the day, like the only thing he has ever done that's illegal is just have an affinity for black market swords. That's it. That's his only thing. And, like, it's like, it's not great, but at the end of the day, like, he's not a murderer.
Yeah.
He doesn't, like, work for Hydra. Like, in the MCU, just collecting illegal swords, well, you know, there's worse people. But I just think it would be funny if, like, God, they just hammer away at this guy until the audience is like, I think he should, like, die in a fire. And then at the last moment, you're like, oh, it wasn't so bad. It would just be a fun bait and switch for the show to do.
Yeah.
Because right now, it's so obvious that he's a bad guy that it almost seems like it's like too on the nose if he just is a bad guy.
Exactly. Yeah, they're building it up too much.
Yeah. Or it'll be really fun when he dies, or, you know, it's the MCU. Well, actually, they kill a lot of people in the MCU. The MCU is not death adverse.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
At the end of the thing, I think that's Echo, right? Maybe. We're getting a whole show about her later, so we'll see about that next week.
I don't know. That scene was very confusing to me. I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on. So.
Yeah, I really hope the show gets into how a woman like her becomes the head of the Tracksuit Mafia, which is like a Russian crime organization.
Yeah. Confused? Question mark?
Also, I want to call out the gentrification joke in that scene was very funny, but also like weird.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
The Russian man that gets upset that Clint doesn't think that the hideout is cool because too many other places are getting bought and turned into high-rises. I was like, this is like a really weird, like, white person complaining about gentrification joke in a way that is funny, but also I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
There's not enough abandoned warehouses in New York anymore. And I was like,
no.
is that the problem?
Yeah.
I don't think it is. I don't think abandoned warehouses are the thing that we're upset about.
Or just, like, rent an Airbnb.
Is your hideout?
Well, no, not like...
if you're going to have guns and stuff, you have to have, like, a proper hideout. You need a lair. You need to go live with the mole people under 42nd Street. Yeah. They're super nice.
If you say so.
They have their own government. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Let us know what you thought of Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of like,
I'm into it.
It's fun, and I'm enjoying watching it, but I don't love it.
It's gonna have, if it wants to be like the MCU show, it's gonna have to do a lot in the remaining episodes to like turn that around.
I don't think like
it
when
could.
you
there's potential.
I don't know.
If they turn the Clint and Kate relationship into something that like emotionally just is absolutely the most moving thing to me by the end, like if I just get so like this could become the best show in this to me. I don't want to count it out 2 episodes into. Is it 6 episodes?
I think so.
Oh, there's not a lot left.
No, there's not a lot left. And that's kind of like, this was just a, like, quick and dirty, like, Christmas holiday thing, which is like, okay, fine. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. But, you know,
But some of it's silly.
You're not fooling me. Like, I know what I'm watching.
You're not fooling me. I know New York City firefighters aren't thieves.
That was just cringe. Like,
Yeah, it's weird.
It was weird.
And then he posts on Instagram.
Yeah, it was...
Really? Had to bring Zuckerberg into this? He can post on TikTok?
Yeah,
it would have made more sense. It would have made more sense if it was on TikTok.
Honestly, it would have, yeah.
And honestly, I would Hawkeye scroll through TikTok.
Why that video is public on Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
Why is he not dead? Why hasn't the Tracksuit Mafia killed him?
They do not seem like they understand social media. Like, Hawkeye is deep in the socials.
You're telling me that the mafia organization does not have somebody who, like...
No.
Knows... Yes, they do. No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The New York City Mafia runs construction and garbage. They don't care about social media. There's no money for them in social media. Why would they monitor
it's not about
that?
money. It's not about money. It's about keeping an eye on people.
Yeah, but...
You 100%... You have
Why
people...
would you be keeping an eye on a firefighter who LARPs?
I'm not saying that they're keeping an eye on a specific person. But, like, if you're looking for somebody who uses, like, a costume or, like...
I don't think that they would be... The only reason that Hawkeye finds him is because he knows to search NYC LARPers. if he didn't have that search, they wouldn't come up. You know what I mean?
Right.
The algorithm would not push the mafia to Grills. Whose name is Grills, by the way, but he doesn't have a grill, and I don't know how I feel about that.
It just seems
he was great. That actor, I honestly was kind of hoping he was coming on for the journey, because by the end of the LARPing scene, I should have pulled up his name, but
he was great.
The LARPing actor, I was like, dude, this guy's charismatic as hell. He's great.
I just would imagine that as a large mafia organization, they are very clear, are very clear that, like, this Ronin person is, like, in their bad books. And I just feel like they would have, like, if anybody had any kind of connection to them whatsoever, however distant, they could get a pretty nice prize for being like, hey, is this the person that you're looking for? Because they saw the video.
I don't think anyone's seen that video. That firefighter has like 4 followers, babe.
I guess, yeah.
I guess. Hawkeye finds it because he has the exact search term.
He's a hot, nerdy firefighter. He has followers.
No. He's a LARPer.
Yeah.
I say this with all of my love to the LARPing community, but it's a niche thing.
Yes, but he's also a firefighter.
Yeah, and if he's posting shirtless pics, maybe. But if he's posting costume pics, no one's going to care.
Well, how do you know he doesn't do both?
I mean, I
do
need...
both.
All right, you know what? You're right. Marvel, we need this man's Instagram account.
Yeah. Can we pull it up, please? I would like his handle. No reason.
Jesus Christ. Asking for a friend.
Anyways, moving on. Let us know what you thought about Hawkeye so far. What are your thoughts?
I feel like I pissed off the LARPing community.
I'm so sorry. We love you guys, but it is a niche thing. That's not unfair to say, I don't think.
I think it's something that I would love to get into if I had time, but it seems like the commitment for it is so much more than the time I have available to me in my life.
Yeah. Anyways.
I have nothing against LARPing community. I made a joke, and now I feel bad about it.
No,
I'm like,
you're
do I edit
fine.
this?
No.
Do we just never put this video up?
No.
All right. Well, then like the video. Dislike the video if you're a LARPer. I will see it, and I will understand. Leave me in comments down below, because the algorithm god is hungry, and we must feed her. This pen was on the table again, so I'm pointing with it again. You know what that means. You can follow us over on Twitch, twitch.tv/nerdynightly for this mean mug.
And I'm over at twitch.tv/Chitauri.
And you can support us over at fanhouse.app/nerdynightly.
Yep, and patreon.com/nerdynightly.
If enough people sign up, we will make a video where we go LARPing. Facts.
Sure.
I say that right now. I'm not going to give an exact number, because I'm not sure I want it to happen.
Enough people.
Do something nerdy tonight.
Bye.
Bye.